Hi, all. It is Ian McMichael, pastor of Peace Lutheran in Colfax and Trinity Lutheran in Endicott, and we are making our way yet again through Pandemic Hope, our devotional for this time of chaos and brokenness in the world. So we are on week 2. What is today? Tuesday, which I think I picked the right reading for. Yes, I did. The reading is Psalm 27, and Psalm 27 says this: The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to devour my flesh, my adversaries and foes, they shall stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war rise up against me, yet I will be confident. One thing I ask of the Lord, that will I seek after, to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. For he will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will set me high on a rock. Now my head is lifted up above my enemies all around me, and I will offer in his tent sacrifices with shouts of joy. I will sing and make melody to the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry aloud. Be gracious to me and answer me. Come, my heart says, seek his face. Your face, Lord, do I seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You who have been my help, do not cast me off. Do not forsake me, O God of my salvation. If my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will take me up. Teach me your ways, O Lord, and lead me in a level path because of my enemies. Do not give me up to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and they are breathing out violence. I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. So, I don't know where you're at today. Maybe you're feeling that joy or that peace that we talked about yesterday. Maybe you're just extremely bored. Maybe you're sort of looking for purpose or trying to figure out that new routine. Where I am, at least this morning for the first time, I kind of went through this at the beginning of all this. It was a lot of high anxiety trying to figure out what was going to come next and how we were basically, well, how what it meant for my family and how we were going to do ministry together as a community. And that was obviously going to look new. So that caused some anxiety and some running around and trying to figure things out. And then for the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days, it's been kind of like, okay, new routine settling in. There's some bumps in the road, but we're getting this figured out. And today, at least, who knows what the next hour will bring, but right now, I'm sort of grieving for those things that I feel like are lost or are at least different in some ways. I really enjoy, for those of you that know me, I really enjoy my routine. I kind of like getting up and doing basically the same thing every day. I like get up, make sure Hans has breakfast, have my cup of coffee, go go to work, come back, hang out with Hans, have dinner. You know that, and that just it looks different. A large portion of my day is not go to work, but go up to my office in my house and make these videos and work. But it's just different, right? So I'm grieving the loss of my routine. I'm grieving the loss of being in the church. I like being in the church every day and working in my office and being close to that sanctuary and being able to take time when I feel like I need it and go over there and just have moments of silence. Um, I'm I'm grieving the loss of our in-person worship. Obviously, you don't become a pastor unless you like worship and you feel fed from worship. And I am in that boat. And so I miss being able to come together as community in a physical sense and be with one another. And that's weighing heavy on my heart. I miss the sort of certainty, although there is never really a sense of certainty, right? But I miss that sense of certainty of what's going to come next because I don't know. Yesterday, they announced, at least in Washington State, Governor Inslee announced "Stay home, stay healthy," which, for all intents and purposes, is a lockdown. Except you can go to the grocery store and take walks and go to the doctor, right? Um, so so here we are for a minimum, I guess, of 2 weeks, and we'll see what that brings. But I'm sort of grieving these losses in a lot of ways. But Psalm 27 was helpful for me this morning because I don't really plan ahead on these. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to say in them until the camera starts rolling. But Psalm 27 helps me understand that it's not in the physical sense, the physical building of the church where peace is found. It's not even in the physical community that we gather there on Sunday mornings where peace is found. It is not in routine where peace is found. It's not in any of that, right? Any of these things that I'm grieving are not what God calls us to, or it's not where God calls us to seek God, right? Because God is everywhere. God is able to give peace and wholeness everywhere. So we're called to do mission differently and to grieve what we don't have anymore, but also to see how these new things that are happening in the world are perhaps opportunities to serve God's mission differently. The same mission, right? God's mission in the world, but to serve God differently. And so that is an exciting part and sort of pulls you out of your grief as you realize that things are different, and as we seek to figure, but God's mission is not different, and in that I take a lot of hope. Um, so hopefully you have some hope there too in the fact that all of these things that we feel like we're missing are not God. The building's not God. Even the community gathered is not God. Routine is not God. God is God, and we can seek God wherever we are, and God is continuously seeking us wherever we are, and that is extremely hopeful, especially in the midst of a Lent that has gotten more Lent-like than I ever expected. So as we continue to work our way towards Easter and that new hope of a resurrected God, we sit in that grief for a little while, and that's okay. But we also realize that we're called to something else as well, and in that we take joy and we take hope, and we are hopeful for a broken world because God is God and calls us to new things. So hope you have a good day, and blessings on your day, and I will see you tomorrow.